everyone for being here this evening for the free foster and rescue resource, How to Use the Found Animals System to Benefit Your Life-Saving Efforts. We have Matt Ulrich here today. And Matt, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Matt Ulrich. I oversee our West Coast operations, basically 16 different states. My job is to work with anyone in animal welfare that is trying to register pets as much as possible. I do work for the Found Animals Foundation, so we do provide low-cost microchips as well as scanners. We're not going to focus on that today, though. Today, we are going to focus on how to use our registry for free for your foster and rescue efforts so that you're not incurring any costs.
Thank you so much. And I'm really thrilled to have you both here. And you can use the Q&A function for questions. We'll have plenty of time for questions, and feel free to use the chat as well throughout. And take it away, Matt. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Rory. I appreciate it. Yeah, as Rory said, we will open things up for a Q&A section at the end. What I'd like to do is just give you a little brief overview of Found Animals Foundation. It will have a couple steps in there on how to use our registry, but there's no need to take notes at the moment because the next portion of this is we will do a hands-on practical exercise on how to set up an account, how to add pets, especially if you're pulling them from either a shelter or transferring them over from another rescue, as well as a few other hidden features that are in there. And then we're going to work with Ingrid on a few of those things. And then from there, we'll open stuff up to the Q&A. So I want to go ahead and share my screen at the moment and give everybody a little presentation here. Ingrid, can you give me a thumbs up if you see my big screen here, Michelson Found Animals Registry, how to use the Found Animals Registry for free?
I can see it.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much. Then I am sharing perfectly. 1 second here. Okay, so as I said, my name is Matt Ulrich. This is my contact information. It's m.ulrich@foundanimals.org. That's blah blah, my little cat. That is his name. He got his name just because he doesn't know how to be quiet. All right, so as many of you know, you're all pretty much pet professionals to one degree or another, whether you work inside a shelter or a registry or some sort of community resource, you've come across a microchip at some point. Now, those blue lines that run directly over from the microchip to the registry is kind of the logic that most people have. For example, if it's a home again chip, it must go inside a home again registry. But we all know better than that. You can actually take any microchip and register with any single one of these registries. Now, many of them have fees, some of them don't. And today we're going to cover what's specific to the Found Animals Foundation, because you can take, say, an AKC chip, for example, and actually register it with Found Animals for free. Now, since there's quite a bit of microchip confusion, or microchip madness, as we like to call it, there is a solution for that, and it's the AHA lookup tool. Now, there's a lot of pet professionals that know about this. It's petmicrochiplookup.org, and it currently speaks to all of the registries with one exception, which is Avid. Now, I have heard claims from other folks that if an Avid chip was registered online with their system, then sometimes it shows up. I still couldn't find proof of that, so if someone does, it would be great if you could email that to us so we can update some of our records. But for the most part, every single one of the registries does have some sort of a digital interface with the AHA lookup tool. Now, what you can do is that you can take a microchip, put it into AHA's interface, and it will typically, usually, hopefully, give you some results. It will also give you timestamped results. As you can see, this first, or rather last update was on 1/31 of 2020 with AKC Reunite. That's when the information for this microchip was updated, but then was transferred over to Found Animals. And as of today, because I went ahead and updated it, you can now see that it is in the Found Animals registry. So this helps folks that are in animal control, people that are in rescues, even Good Samaritans be able to see this information and kind of backtrack where that chip actually belongs. This gives more than one point of contact that someone trying to research that microchip can actually reach out to both of these registries, most likely the most recent one, and try to get updated pet owner information. If it is in Found Animals, thank you so much, Melissa. I appreciate it. Thank you that you love us. Now, if it is in Found Animals, what you can do is sign in or actually just put in the microchip number into the actual registry itself. It will give you some sort of an information if it is actually updated and registered with us. And you can start what's called a found pet alert, which is why we have that circled right there. The found pet alert, this is really to help people who don't work directly in animal control. Animal control will always have access to direct owner information, but due to privacy laws, there are a lot of pet professionals that don't specifically work within reunification, therefore they don't have access to see direct owner information. So with that, we've come up with the Found Pet Alert system. This allows you to start a Found Pet Alert for that animal that you're looking up and researching. And on your behalf, we will call, text, and email that pet owner for up to 4 days. This registry service is 100% free. If you're a good Samaritan, you will actually enter in your own contact information or what you're comfortable with sharing and allow us to be the middle person for that. If you are a pet professional, your default credentials are already in here. So if you're, I love that they always call themselves something, and I think every city has this, but something like a Kitty City Rescue, for example. They would be a pet professional where much of their default information on their account is already in here. If Kitty City found a lost pet and decided to try to get it home and they started a Found Pet Alert, the pet owner would then receive all of Kitty City's information so they could contact Kitty City and try and get their lost pet. We do continue to do this for a period of 4 days, the emergency contact, as well as any other additional emergency contacts that are on there. It is up to 12 different points of contact over 4 days, so it's 48 touches. 48 actual contact touches over that period of time. Now, one thing I want everybody to notice is that there is something listed in here called Permanent Rescue Contact. This is a unique function that we have that our rescues and foster groups absolutely love. This allows you to be the permanent rescue contact for an animal. And even though you are registering that animal to, let's just call them John and Jane Doe adopter, someone that you've gone through the adoption process with and you decided that one of your beloved pets it can be adopted by them. If that pet ever enters into a shelter, your permanent rescue contact information also comes up within our registry. If a Found Pet Alert, I'll go back one, if a Found Pet Alert is started, you can see we do loop you in through all 4 days, letting you know, hey, this particular pet with this microchip number has been found by so-and-so animal control authority. Here's their contact information. You can reach out and try and find out more information to help get that lost pet back home. So we are allowing folks to stay a part of the conversation so that they can kind of keep tabs on what's happening to the animals that they've adopted out, and you can be an additional resource in getting that lost pet back home. The beauty of this is that the pet owner never sees that you're actually the permanent rescue contact for that animal, and it cannot be removed. Some additional things. So let's start here, actually. So if you just go to found.org and it's your first time logging in, you will see that this is our landing page. You'll see a side for pet owners and for pet pros. Ingrid, just hold off at the moment. This is not the point I want you to follow along just yet. I know we talked about that earlier. So you've got pet owners, pet professionals. Pet owners, if they actually just have their microchip number, they can click on Get Started, register that microchip underneath their name, and then they're a registered pet owner, and it's 100% free. Pet pros as well, as you can see, we consider this to be shelters, rescues, veterinarians, animal control. And this includes your high volume 501c3s, your SPCAs, whether you hold a municipal contract or not, or even down to your mom and pop rescues, breed specific rescues, Labrador rescues, poodle rescues, greater boxer rescues, things like that. We would all consider those pet professionals, and it allows you to sort of manage and maintain the pets that are in your care and also adopt them out for free. To be clear, this is not adoption software, but it is a component to the important adoptions that you are doing within your community. Now, if you do happen to go to found.org and it's not your first time in landing with us, so you may have a cookie in your cache somewhere, if you're not seeing this particular page, you can always scroll to the very bottom. When you click sign up, you can scroll to the very bottom and look at this lower right hand picture here. You can switch to Pet Pro. So you might actually be on Pet Owner. You can switch that by switching over to Pet Pro, and then it will take you to a login screen. This login screen, and this is the last slide I'm going to show. Again, this is just very simple resource material because we're actually going to walk through this as a practical exercise, is to create an account, and we will go to that right now. So Ingrid, at this point, this is actually where I want you to go ahead and follow along with me. I'm going to start creating a fake Pet Pro account under my name and under basically a fake registry. And then for you, I'm just doing this so that we can protect your email address so no one else is copying it down. But when it comes time to actually start adding pets, I'm going to go ahead and let you share your screen, and we're going to walk through as a practical exercise. So let's go ahead and sign up. And I'm not too concerned if this email address gets out because I signed up for it earlier today, but I call it Animal Rescue 2021 at gmail.com. Now we do ask to go ahead and confirm the email address. A little pro tip, if you hit Command A on your Apple or Control A on your PC, you can actually highlight that and then Control or Command C and then paste, copy and paste that over. I then click agree to our terms and conditions, and I'm gonna click next. From here, I get to create my own unique password. Keep in mind that you might be using this with a number of other pet professionals. You might have a couple partners within your rescue or something like that. So I always suggest maybe let's come up with a password that's easy for us to remember as a group. If you click next, this is going to go ahead and start to create your account. And this is going to be about your organization. So let's call this just Rescue 2021, because I think we're all looking forward to getting past 2020. So we'll just call it Rescue 2021. Now the web URL, this is if you have a website or say a Facebook page or anything that you would like to point to for someone's reference, you can go ahead and add that, but it is not something that is required. What is required is that you add a phone number on here, and you'll find out what some of that stuff is important a little bit later. I'm going to go ahead and put my work number in here. Oop, my apologies. Let me try that again. There we go. And then from here, this portion is really important because it does let us know on the receiving end here at Found Animals what your operations are and what you do. Now, let's just say we perform adoptions, and why not? I also help perform spay-neuter services to my community. Don't provide emergency vet care. It might be because I just don't have the capacity to do it, or maybe local enforcement doesn't allow me to do that. And then also, I'm not an animal control or services. Now, just for reference, if anybody is listening that's following along that is involved in animal control services, you definitely want to click this one. And the reason why is because we do verify your actual status within animal control, and then we will grant you full privileges to see direct owner information. So we do take that portion very seriously. However, if you're just a foster or rescue network, really only suggest that you just, the very bare minimum, you perform adoptions. From here, I'm going to go ahead and click next, and this is going to take a moment for us to go ahead and update to the next section. I'm just going to enter in a fake address, 123 Sesame Street, and really that's not fake. That's an important address, but it's not one that exists in Los Angeles, which is where the Found Animals headquarters is and where I currently reside. But I'm going to put in all of that important information. For you rescues and foster networks, this address really isn't going to be shared with any of your adopters or anything like that. So you want this address to be as accurate as possible. It will help any animal control authority within your area, maybe help you out with some of your permanent rescue contact pets. Really, I don't think it's going to be too important though. But let's just go ahead and move on from organization address. And Constance just asked a great question. Is there a way to enter multiple locations for one organization? At the moment, when you're going through this process, I'm going to say no. However, what you could do is that you could go back through and create another account underneath the same name, but a different email address, maybe one that that's another partner of or something like that. and you would be able to start entering in different credentials, but still operate sort of underneath the same account. If you're asking about multiple locations because you are involved in animal control or something like that, then definitely reach out and contact us. I will put my contact information in there and we can help sort that out if you are an animal control, pardon me, an animal control authority. I'm gonna go ahead and fill out this information here. You're welcome, Constance. Not a problem.
Hey, Matt, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely, you can ask me
Just
a
right quick.
question.
So am I following along? Do I need to create a whole different account?
Oh, yes. I definitely want you to create your own account
Okay.
underneath your email address or whichever email address that you would like, just one that's different from mine. We just want to
Okay.
keep that nice and private and secure for you. Now, right now I'm adding organization contacts. This would be myself, of course, but then it would also potentially be maybe somebody that I work with. You know, for example, my wife and I, we work really, really well together. It might be really great for me to add her as another contact as well. I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm actually, my bad, I just went back one step. You know what? I will go ahead just because I went ahead and clicked that, and now it's not going to let me back out without giving those permissions. So not a problem. And I'll click next. And some of you may have seen some typos that I typed in there. That's really not a problem. We're just doing this for practical exercise. But when you fill this out, definitely be thorough and diligent on the information that you're putting in. But don't worry, if you mess something up, you can always go back and change it later. All right, from here, permissions, remain permanent rescue contact. That function that we talked about earlier, to where we can remain the permanent rescue contact, that way our rescue or our foster network's name is always on that pet that we've adopted out. I highly, highly suggest even large organizations are doing this. Large municipalities, large 501c3s, your ASPCAs, things like that. This is an incredibly helpful function. The next one is going to be auto transfer permissions. Now I want to read this out real carefully so everybody has a good understanding of this. When you rescue and adopt out as many pets as you do, allowing your pets to be transferred out of your account without requiring permission and paperwork can free up your time to rescue more pets. To enable auto transfer, click yes. I would wager that the audience that we're kind of chatting with today is probably going to click no. And I would sort of do that as well. Reason being is because you most likely have the bandwidth and you're going through the entire process of housing these pets, feeding them, taking care of them, managing your foster or rescue network, all this important work. If you're not a high volume shelter, you're not going to find much value in this, and it's going to help you keep tabs on your pets a little bit more closely. So I would suggest in this specific instance to go ahead and select no. From here, we're just going to finish the account, and we'll see the tail chase the dog as opposed to the dog chase its tail. And now we're getting to the point to where the account is complete. Many folks that are on the line have probably taken this step thus far, but some of you have not. But at the moment, we can start registering pets, or we can go to our profile. We also have a survey here that it's really, really great for you to go ahead and take. We do publish a lot of articles. We have a lot of important content that kind of gives us an idea of what your preferences are. But at this point, our account is complete. We can actually start to register some pets. Now, Ingrid, before I go ahead and stop sharing my screen, I want to check in with you. How are you at this step now?
Am I at 0 pets? I'm at the, your account is complete.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, Ingrid, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. All right. Now let's take a moment. Ingrid, what I wanted to do was just go ahead and let you introduce yourself. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background in animal welfare? At the top of this conversation, you talked about the groups that you worked with, but I want to give you the floor for a moment to go ahead and explain stuff, what you're involved in, where you're located, what part of your mission is, and then from there, we're going to have you share your screen. We're going to walk through adding some pets.
Okay, great. Thanks, Matt, and thanks, Rory. Hello, everybody. So my name's Ingrid Norris, and I'm in Spartanburg, South Carolina, hometown of Chaser the Border Collie, the world's smartest dog. That's what Spartanburg is known for. But I am a board member of Hub City Animal Project. You can see our logo back behind us, and I've been in the animal welfare field probably about 14 years now. And I've been with Hub City Animal Project. That's a nonprofit, and our mission and our vision is to reduce animal homelessness and shelter intake within Spartanburg County. So we are a nonprofit, and we do that by holding an annual forum where we bring together the rescues, the shelter, animal control, veterinarians, and we talk about what's going on in our county. And I work a lot with numbers and data and GIS and mapping and helping all those organizations figure out, you know, how we can do better, how we can reduce the number of homeless animals, getting them back home or helping them stay in their homes. So we have a lot of partners, and they do a lot of different things. So we have a pet food pantry organization, we have a spay neuter, we have a spay neuter clinic, we have TNR, the city does TNR. And so once we meet and kind of figure out what's going on in the county, then we open up a competitive grant cycle for our partners to apply for grants. So we raise money. And so it depends. Some of it's $500 up to $10,000, depending on how many partners we have apply and how much money we've raised during the year. So yeah.
Ingrid, I got goosebumps. So to give everybody some context that's listening, we were meant to do this webinar last month, and unfortunately, just due to some scheduling and technical errors, we just couldn't make it happen, and we decided to go ahead and push it back. But within the AMPA Facebook page, I had just said, hey, does anybody want to volunteer for this? I really need somebody who's never worked with found animals and would like to just kind of be my live at will guinea pig. And Ingrid, you were kind enough to raise your hand, and I intentionally wanted to keep you at an arm's distance because I wanted this particular exercise that we're about to do to be as honest as possible. Little did I know, like, what don't you do in animal welfare at this point? This is incredible. And not only will I have some follow-up conversations with you, but I also want to introduce you to a wonderful person, my colleague, Caroline Laxton. She oversees our operations on the East Coast. Really, the two of you should definitely talk specifically with what your mission is and what you're doing. It would be wonderful to learn more about you guys. But for the sake of time, let's go ahead and forge forward. Ingrid, if you don't mind, you can go ahead and share your screen.
Oh, can you see it?
I sort of can. We're lost. There we go. Okay. Now, just so I know that you have all the things that you need, do you have access to those fake microchip numbers that I did email you
Yes.
about an hour ago? Okay, perfect, perfect. So let's go ahead and just start registering some pets. I want you to click on Register Pets. And a lot of this is very self-explanatory. Go ahead and grab the first of any one of those numbers. It doesn't matter. These are also, they're non-ISO microchip numbers. These have actually, they're fake. We just generated them for fake. They've never been in any other system whatsoever. There you go. And just so people are curious, our system, it is case sensitive. We understand that microchip numbers are basically going to be 9, 10, 12, and 15 digits. So you really can't enter in anything different than that. You have duplicated it. We can see that it is green, so it's confirming that it is correct. Go ahead and click next. This will ask for both your records and ours to confirm that microchip number. So we do like that people go ahead and take a look at what's there and what they've entered and confirm that it is correct. And we'll just click next. Oh, and I wanted to mention that at the point in this process, Let's pretend that Ingrid has just gone to one of the local shelters and she has pulled an animal from that shelter. And that shelter may not use found animals whatsoever. Let's say maybe they use just another registry that Ingrid might incur a cost on registering this pet to her rescue. So this is what we're trying to avoid right now. So she has her transfer or pull paperwork on the pet. She has the microchip number, and that's what we started with. Now we're up to date. Let's go ahead and give that pet a fake first name.
Let's see. We're going to say Russell.
I love Russell. Great name. And then any last name. As you can see, the field is green, so it's not required at the moment. If you want it to just be Russell, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
From here, select species. And then from here, you can select primary breeds. We have a lot listed there.
So we'll just say.
Perfect. And then from there, you can list a secondary breed. However, it's not required. It definitely is an optional thing. Now, I know that it's very, very much an important thing that a lot of shelters are currently doing. They just list just about anything as mixed, and that's perfectly fine. We're not trying to judge anything based around that, and that would be awesome if you put Chihuahua. Go ahead and select it. I think it's great. But one of the reasons why we do this is if a pet does go lost and an animal control officer is looking that animal up, they do see that there is some sort of like a roadmap to the breed of what this animal might look like. We want our information on file for your pet to be as helpful as possible to that animal control officer. So even if the, say, contact information of the pet owner is not up to date, at the very least, we have some characteristics of the pet. So let's, for time purposes, go ahead and select any one that you want. Doesn't really matter. And then from here.
So it was a male.
Now we do like to actually list in here whether the pet is spayed or neutered. So to the best of your knowledge, yeah, you can go ahead and put no or yes. From here, date of birth, really what we do is that we just try and select a month and a year. We know that a lot of this is just sort of a guesstimation, but again, there is some information that goes into this that's going to help in identifying exactly who that pet is and who hopefully it might belong to. So the more somewhat specific or just general characteristics that we can add to this pet profile, the better it's going to be to get that lost pet back home. So we got October 2017, male, not neutered. Let's go ahead and click next. From here, you can add a photo. Now, this is something that when I talk to a lot of animal control officers that use us, and Ingrid, you can go ahead and add a photo if you want to or not.
Okay.
It's completely up to you. And while you're doing that, I get a lot of animal control officers or even other folks that just happen to work in animal welfare that say we love being able to see the photo. The photo is incredibly helpful, primarily because a lot of times if you find a lost pet, it's in a crate, you're trying to comfort it, or if you're an animal control officer and it's sitting right next to you in the truck, it's very, very useful to see that there is a photo there that somewhat matches the animal that's sitting in your vehicle at that time.
So I'm trying to drag and drop it and it's not letting me do it. So I was just going to try to save it to my desktop right quick and see if it would let me put it in there.
No worries. Let's go ahead and give it a shot and see if it works for you. And if it doesn't, don't worry about it. We'll be able to forge forward. I think it might just be because we're sharing on Zoom that it might be giving us an overlay that it's just not wanting to populate, but that's okay.
All right.
And then from here in the general description, this is where you can write characteristics about the animal. Now, since you just pulled it, you might not know much about the animal unless the shelter says, hey, it's allergic to a particular type of food, or it loves car rides. That's like a common trait that, maybe if the pet's lost, just pull. How many of us have known that there's a dog that if you just pull up and open the door and say, hey, want to go for a ride? Then they'll just jump right in. Doesn't matter what car it is. This is a point where you can add a characteristic like this that's going to help the person that found that lost pet end up getting it back home. And then from there, once you're done typing that, you can go ahead and click Finish Registration. Kim, don't think I didn't see your comment. I love that you Foster's dog with DNA came back as Pitty and Chihuahua, and you call her Chitty. I love that. Well done. So the registration is complete. You can go through the process of either adding another pet at this point, or you can go to your profile. Let's go ahead and click on Go to Profile. And just as a default, anybody at any point, you can, so the picture did upload. I love it. So at any point, you can also click on the Michelson Found Animals Registry logo in the upper left-hand corner, and that will get you back to this home page so that you can see your pets. So I tell you what, one more time, real quick. I know I gave you 3 microchip numbers, but just for time's sake, let's go ahead and add one more. And now, since doing that, what you can see is that at the very top, you can see that there's a few different options. There's Start, Found Pet Alert, perfect. Go to Add Pets, and then click on Add a Pet. Let's go through the process of just one more microchip number so the folks watching can see this one more time.
Okay. I'm trying to get to it.
No, I know it's very difficult since you're presenting, so my apologies on that. I may have given you a tough task.
We're good.
Perfect. All right, confirm that that's the microchip number. We'll just move on to the next step. Sassy, love a good sassy pet. Why not? Like, absolutely sassy as a cat.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll say it's female. Yes. So let's say we just found her, and maybe she's about 2 years old. Okay.
Very friendly, eats from hand. That's a great characteristic. That's one that's very, very specific. I love it. Yeah, don't even worry about
so let
a
me
photo.
ask, so in the interest of time, so say we didn't have a photo, but then later we took a photo, can we go back and update and put the photo in?
Yes, that is a fantastic question. You can update your pet's information at any point in time whatsoever,
Okay.
Which is fantastic. So let's go ahead and click on Go to Profile if you want. Now, at this time, I want to point out in the Q&A section that Constance asked a great question, which I did want to cover a little bit further down, but this is a fantastic time to ask this. Constance asked, is this something that the team does at the shelter when the animal is adopted, or do we depend on the adopter to do this when they get home? Then sorry for all the questions. Don't even worry about it, Constance. That's a fantastic question, really important. So there's a few different ways to view this. Let's say you're a rescue and you're pulling from a shelter that actually uses found animals. When you pull that animal, all that you need to provide to them is your contact information that has the email address that you use for your found animals account. That animal automatically gets transferred over. So any information that you have from whatever software you're using, we do populate it into that rescue. Now, on a bigger view, let's say, is this something the team does at the shelter? Kind of depends upon what shelter software they're using and whether this is a foster or rescue-based network. If you are parceling out pets that go to foster or rescue, I would highly suggest doing this and then telling that foster, that rescue, like, hey, we've got this animal registered in a free registry. We're going to register it to you even though you're not actually the adopter. And so that's going to end up helping. You clarified and asked PetPoint. Currently, our system does not have integration with PetPoint, so it would be some sort of a manual upload. For the large groups that do purchase microchips from us, we do have additional pathways to registry that are also free. That are in the form of templates or other things that help you manage your time a little bit more effectively and efficiently. And I will give you my email address again, as well as like an interest form if you need to know more information on how to do that at a much higher level. So Ingrid, back to what we've done here. So we just registered 2 pets. And then Sarah just asked, does it work with Shelter Love? Yes, it 100% does. So Ingrid, we've gone ahead and we've registered 2 pets. Let's just assume that we've pulled them. Let's go ahead And let's say that you've reached out to, no, let's say actually you've had this pet on, say, your Facebook page for your rescue, that it's available for adoption. We'll start with Russell. We're going to transfer Russell over to a new adopter. So what I want you to do is go ahead and go to Russell's details. Yes, you can do exactly what you're doing. You can either transfer select, or you can go on Russell's actual page and click transfer. So let's try doing that first, because I feel like that's typically more the default of what we see. So here we see Russell's basic info. You can click on details and picture, and this is where you would update that information that you asked about earlier, Ingrid. But from here, if you click on transfer, I'm sorry, you should see it right underneath Russell. There's two green options there, remove and transfer. Are you sure you want to transfer this pet? Go ahead and click on yes. And do you have the new owner's information? Yes, you most likely do, because you've gone through the adoption process and everything else. So let's go ahead. I'm going to give you my information. So it's just Matt, M-A-T-T. Last name is spelled U-L-R-I-C-H. And I'm going to give you, actually, even though I used it as a rescue earlier, I'm going to give you this one. It's just Animal Rescue 2021 at gmail.com. Then click next. And so now it's just giving you an overview that this is going to that particular owner with that email address. This is the pet that's being transferred with that microchip number. You can go ahead and confirm and transfer. Just takes a few moments, because we are actually removing a pet from your registration and adding it to another one that currently exists. So please forgive the wait time. Our website also might have some high traffic here at the moment. But while that's loading, I want to explain two different scenarios here. One, let's just say that this is a person who Ingrid has now transferred this to, but they do not have an existing account with us. What's great is that Ingrid has just put in pertinent details for that pet owner. And Ingrid, you can go ahead and click on go to profile if you'd like. She's just put in details on that particular pet owner that we will use even if the pet owner does not, pardon me, sorry about that. What's happening is that that's an automated call, text, and email letting me know that my rescue is now receiving a pet from Ingrid, which is really exciting. So that's something that we can talk about too. That is a function of our registry when you're the permanent rescue contact on something. Ingrid, just so you know, your telephone and your email will also be lighting up here soon, letting you know that you've just transferred a pet. So let's say that you have multiple folks that are working for your organization and something like this happens, you're kind of kept in the loop at all times on what's happening with your particular pets. So that's a nice, exciting function. But back to my point, if that person does not have an account with us, we do send them an email letting them know, like, hey, so-and-so with this particular rescue has just tried to register a pet under you. Go ahead and take these steps to complete your free account. And then we walk them through those steps. So what's great here is that we're seeing that the transfer is pending. What I'm going to do on my end, once our system catches up here, is I'm going to accept that notification. We will refresh your details here in just a moment, and we will see Russell actually disappear from your registry, from your account, but not quite. And you'll see what I mean here in just a moment. So I'm accepting and confirming the transfer over to my account. It has been successful. I tell you what, Ingrid, why don't you just go ahead and click on the Found Animals registry logo. You can either reload or you can just click that logo, either one. And there you go. Now Russell is gone, but not permanently. So what we do have the ability to do is that you can filter by either name or microchip number within our registry so that you can see the current pets that are within your system. But Russell's not going to show up because Russell doesn't belong in your system. However, if you just move your cursor over to the right, you'll see that it's defaulted to current pets. You can click on that. and you'll see permanent rescue contact pets. Same with transfer pending and transfer canceled. But permanent rescue contact pets. Oh, did you have yours? Did you select permanent rescue contact earlier when we were walking through this? That may have been missed for a moment. That's okay.
Yep, I might not have.
That's
I think
all
I
right.
said no. Can you go
That's
back
all
and
right.
change that?
I certainly can. In fact, one second here, I can, well, I will show you how to do that. So yes, you're absolutely right. So on my account and settings, scroll back up, and on the right-hand side, click on permissions. Remain permanent rescue contact. Go ahead and click yes. There you go. Then save changes. And that's
Late
my
now,
fault.
but
That's all right. That's my fault on that, Ingrid. I should have helped walk you through that. But yes, this is now any single animal that's underneath your care. It's going to, once you adopt them out or transfer them over or anything else, you will then be the permanent rescue contact. Now, since that was done afterwards, I don't think it's going to retroactively activate that. But let's go ahead and change that default over to permanent rescue contact pets. And Russell's not there because it happened after the fact. So again, for those of you folks that are setting this up, just make sure that you are being very diligent on going through those records. Here we go, Ingrid. I'm going to go ahead and transfer this pet over to you because I want to show real quick before our time is up so I can open it up for Q&A. Of what it looks like to actually have that pet within, to receive a transfer from another pet owner, or it could also be another rescue that you work with or someone within the foster network. So real quick, let me get to Ingrid. Ingrid, I'm going to send you a private chat. I'm asking for your email address. So if you just respond to that privately to me and give me your email address, and then I'll be able to transfer this animal over. And then Gina, there you are. Gina said, I may have missed it, so I apologize, but shelters and rescues that do the initial chip registration on behalf of the adopter have the highest return to owner rate when a pet becomes lost. It is a really good practice to do the initial registration and clearly ensure members of your team are good at explaining the registry to the pet family. Absolutely 100%. I know that a good chunk of our audience today is pet professionals, but might not be in a high volume shelter. But even if you are, it's 100% one of your best practices should be to register that microchip initially and work with your rescues and your fosters on registering those as well. Okay, yes, I do. So what I'm doing right now is that I'm going to transfer this pet over just like you just now did, Ingrid, but I'm doing it specifically to you. I'm confirming the transfer. And it should go through in just a moment. Now, much like earlier, since we're sitting within your account at the moment, I just got a success. Since we're sitting in your account at the moment, let's go ahead and refresh your account and we'll see if we have any notifications pop up. Looks like your cursor might be stuck, or at least what I'm looking at. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, let's go ahead and refresh that page. And we should see, there's our orange blur. We have one notification at the top of the notifications tab. Go ahead and click on that, and you should see.
Oh, somebody's, so I got a notice that on my phone.
I love that. So we are constantly keeping your rescue within connection in the network at all times because you're now the permanent rescue contact. So there's your incoming transfer request. You can go ahead and confirm. This would be if you are adopting from, say, a high volume shelter or something along those lines, that you will see those notifications come up, as well as if you work with other folks within your foster or rescue network and you're exchanging or transferring animals back and forth from one house to another one or from one rescue group to another. This is how this is all done, and it's 100% free the whole time. So you've accepted the transfer. Let's go ahead and just click on the Found Animals logo so that gets us back to our page. And there's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I tried to test the character limit one time just to see how far we could get. This is also a fake microchip number that's not an ISO's or ICAR issued microchip number, so I know that we're not interfering with any of the registry or anything like that. Same with the microchip numbers that I sent you earlier. So we know that we're not poaching what might actually be an actual animal's microchip number out in the system. So these are fake pets. So Ingrid, I want you to go ahead and keep these fake pets for now. That way, if there's anybody within your network of what you outlined earlier that you'd like to just kind of showcase this, this again is a massive resource for the fosters and rescue networks that are currently online at the moment, or that high volume shelters are supported by. Because let's face it, it's 2020, and if you're reading the news and paying attention to everything that's happening in animal welfare, we need your help now more than ever. And rescues and fosters and just the open homes that are going to receive these pets with open arms, that once had their own home and their own couch that they belong in, it's best to try and keep them out of the shelter. This is going to assist anybody doing this type of work to keep those costs low. Because Ingrid, at any point, did you have to enter in credit card information somewhere?
Oh.
And at any point, did you see that there were products for sale or anything that what some people would consider to be an upsell?
Mm-mm. Not in the process.
Exactly. And that's what we love about this registry and what part of our mission is at Found Animals. Yes, we do sell microchip scanners at a very low cost. And yes, we work with just about anybody in animal welfare that does that. But more importantly, this is a free resource for you to manage pets that most likely will already have a microchip. And I can assure that the 33 participants that are on there, plus you and myself, we see now so many microchip pets that we are pulling and assisting with for rescue and foster from those high volume shelters that we support. So Ingrid, thank you so much for your time. This was just a basic sort of intro and a stair step on how this can be done. There are other resources that I am going to post, primarily just our YouTube page. We do have a registry help page that will go out to everybody here. One second, all panelists and attendees. I just put that in the chat. For folks that do want to sign up for their own free account, I definitely suggest that you copy this link and then go ahead and bookmark it so that you can use it as reference for later. There's informative videos that pet owners can use on how to register and update their microchip. And then the pet professional ones as well, which are marked as PP, short for pet professional. They will be able to work this out. What I want to do as well is there are probably quite a few rescues on here that wanted to know more about our microchip scanners. I didn't want to talk about that during this time because I wanted this to be an honest conversation so that folks that are listening can learn more about what the free side of things are before anybody has to pay anybody else. And so everything that we've done just far is 100% free and honest. But if you do have an interest with us, go ahead and check the Zoom webinar chat. This is our interest form. If you'd like to learn more about how you can work with us, and if you are looking for things that are going to help keep your costs low outside of just registering pets for free, you can go ahead and click on that link and use that form. One of us will end up reaching out to you very, very soon. So let's open it up to questions. And Ingrid, you can go ahead and stay on, because actually, you know what? I might have some back and forth questions with you as well, because you're on one end of the animal welfare spectrum. I'm on the other. And so let's kind of see what folks are talking about here. So Kim Waters in the Q&A section, she said, my apologies. We are a small rescue, though cannot imagine having to upload our pets to Found Animals. When will there be integration to PetPoint? I cannot remember Microchip Madness slide to see where all the registries PetPoint talk to. really, this is something where I really wish that all of us in the industry were cross-compatible. And so even though you are a small rescue, it seems like, Kim, what you saw is that the volume of manually entering in these microchips might be a little bit more daunting of a task than what you'd like to take on. Again, we currently don't have integration with PetPoint. All of us, now that we're in this situation in 2020, we are trying to have conversations. I think that PetPoint and 24 Pet Watch and AKC Reunite and Chameleon and everybody, I think that we all have pet owners and pet professionals' best interest in mind. And we are working to try and work together. So Kim, more specifically to your question, if you would like to chat with us, you can go ahead and shoot me an email. We might have some sort of an option that would live possibly outside of PetPoint without having you to maybe change softwares or anything like that. I'm not too sure what situation that you're in, but we're here to provide as much guidance as possible. We do have an anonymous attendee that asked, free service available in Canada. What about privacy issues sharing personal information with third party? That's a fantastic question. So to answer your question first, we currently do not provide microchips and scanners to our folks over in Canada. It's primarily just because of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just because the tax ID stuff and you're on one side of the border and we're on the other. We just don't have that portion built out just yet. However, our system most certainly works in Canada at the moment. So automated call, text, and email are integrated currently. And I know that Shelter Love works with a few Canadian partners that are up there, some of the shelters that are near the border, and their system does integrate with ours. So they have been cross-communicating over to us. So Stephanie Miller, your question in the Zoom webinar chat of available to Canadian shelters, or I'm sorry, one second. Sorry, Sarah's question. Does the software work with Shelter Love? Yes, we do have integration with them as well as a few other shelter softwares that are out there. I love these questions though. Let's keep them coming. And since folks asked for it, I will go ahead and you can use the interest form or you can email me at that email address right there that's in the Zoom webinar chat. And looks like we have a Q&A from Beth. When you take in dogs already chipped, is the transfer process easy to get them in your ownership and wipe out the prior? That's a fantastic question. So I'll give you two different scenarios here. One, let's say that you have pulled the animal from a shelter that is working with found animals. Yeah, absolutely. It's super easy. Really, what you have to just let them know is say, hey, I noticed you're with found. My rescue, we use found as well. So there's no fees or anything. This is my found animals email address. That report that they generate during the day that comes over to us so that we're changing and updating and doing initial registrations for all of these animals, your rescue, that email address will be in there and it will transfer into your existing account, which is great. However, the second scenario here is, let's say you're working with a shelter that's not working with found animals. We'll just say we're working with any other registry. There's no registry that's going to overwrite previous registrations from a registry that's not the same. So let's say it's an animal that's in a registry that's not us, but you are registering it to found animals for that initial registration for that first time with found animals. Doesn't overwrite what happened in the previous registration. However, it does update what we're going to see in the AHA lookup tool. In fact, I will go ahead and bring that slide back up just so that we can show a portion of what that looks like again. And I'm going to share just so everybody can see really quickly. One second. And Ingrid, could you give me a thumbs up that you're seeing the that slide with AHA on it? It's not just a dark screen.
I can see it.
Perfect. So as you can see, this microchip number, which it is a valid microchip. It's an AKC chip. This animal is registered to me, 00075 Echo Charlie 399. That was initially registered on January 31st, 2020. If we notice this lower registration. And then the upper portion, it was updated just today on August the 12th of 2020 with the complementing information on how to contact either one of these registries so you can look up that pet owner information. So as you can see, we're really not going through the process of changing previous registry. So I couldn't change or unregister from AKC, but what I can do is give an updated record that a pet professional or a good Samaritan that kind of knows how to use AHA would be able to track down that pet owner. And if you talk to just about any animal control officer, a live release team, folks that are dedicated to getting lost pets back home, like the Lost Dogs of Network, for example, they know how to use AHA very, very well. So Kim, I hope I hope that answered your question. And then a follow-up question is, I'm curious to see how the people who find an animal check more than one registry to look up for current. Do you have any data on that? That's pretty much what we just walked through, Kim. And you bring up a really valid point, that are the people who are finding lost pets and in charge of getting them lost home, are they using AHA as a universal tool? And I think if you, like when I go to animal welfare conferences, or I'm privileged enough to work in this industry where I get to talk to some of the top shelter leaders in the United States, that's one of the number one questions that I'm asking. And I can tell you anecdotally that I'm very, very happy to report that it's quite rare that people have not heard of the AHA lookup tool. Now, I'm sure out of our 30 participants that are on here right now, 1 or 5 of you probably know of a local partner or a local shelter that may not know about that. And we just need, it's on us to also educate one another, and in a very friendly and open way, and just happen to say, hey, instead of maybe identifying a shelter that's not doing it, or a group that doesn't have that as a best practice, another approach might be, hey, I noticed that you guys may not be doing this. Check this out, and you can go ahead and use one of your own microchip numbers or something to show that this is a pathway to identify and locate the actual registered pet owner. We're getting a little short on time here, and Rory, I appreciate you clearing things up in the Q&A, but if there are no more burning questions, I just want to go ahead and give the time back to everyone else. Thank you so much for joining us today. Everyone that's on the line, you're all dedicated to some portion of the same mutual cause, and I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for all the hard work that you're doing, that you continue to do, and that we're going to do together, rolling out to the rest of the end of this year and then into the coming years. And Ingrid, thank you so much. Sorry, Roy, I didn't mean to cut you off. But Ingrid, you've been awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to email you after this with some follow-up questions on the great work that you're doing. I'm going to introduce you to Caroline Laxton, who runs the East Coast operations for us. The two of you are going to get along great.
Sounds great. It was a lot of fun, and I hope everybody got something really informational about it. And
me too.
Almost home or get them back home.
Thank you so much. This has been awesome, and I'm excited to talk to you soon, Matt, about some ways that I think this could really be useful in some of the community sheltering that we're all promoting right now. So thank you for your time, and thank you so much for your expertise and for the great presentation. And
of course. We appreciate the audience and having the opportunity to do this. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for what you do. And we look forward to having future conversations with anybody that would like to.
Awesome. I hope everyone has a wonderful evening, and we will all see you soon.
Take care.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.